think there's anyone else on Earth looking up at the sky and seeing as many stars as we are?
I don't know.
I gotta be looking at a million.
The naked eye can see 2,000.
Well, then I really got great eyes, because I'm looking at a million.
Alpha Centauri is the closest. That's 4.5 light years away.
4.5?
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Each light year is 6 trillion miles. So that's 26 trillion miles.
26 trillion. That's the closest.
Yep. And there's 100 billion stars in our galaxy. There's more galaxies in the universe than there is grains of sand on Earth.
That is big.
Yeah. And we are small.
Yeah.
We are small. And we are small.
One of the most common objections to flat Earth or enclosed cosmology that we tend to hear from other Christians involves the claim that the vastness of outer space is a testament to the vastness and power of God Himself. Most Christians have of course grown up their entire lives believing that these NASA renderings, Hubble paintings, artistic conceptions of the reaches of quote outer space are something that glorifies the handiwork of the Creator, and so not surprisingly, this becomes a difficult thing for them to honestly question. They feel as though suggesting that outer space does not exist is almost synonymous with suggesting that God is small or weak or even lazy somehow. Usually they will quote a verse such as Psalm 19 where it says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament shows His handiwork. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night reveals knowledge." Never mind the fact that the vastness of the entire Copernican universe really exists in order to accommodate the millions and billions of years necessary for cosmic evolution to make its claims about everything that slowly formed after exploding from a lone singularity. But after decades of phony space missions and probes and telescopic unveilings, the Church has convinced itself that these scientifically derived revelations are the very same glory that the psalmist spoke of. The unfathomable distances, the insanely massive stars, the devastatingly destructive black holes, all embodying God's demonstration of His power, His magnitude, His greatness. The only problem is that when Psalm 19 was written, the following verses could not be said to be true if regarded with any honesty. Day unto day utters speech, and night unto night reveals knowledge. There is no speech or language where their voice is not heard. Their line has gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. Because for the majority of human history, people have not gazed up at the night sky and interpreted Copernican vastness. They did not see galaxies or solar systems separated by distances so mind-numbingly vast as to make the Earth appear as but a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. The heavens were dazzling, to be sure, and every culture and tribe and nation that has ever existed has looked up at them and received testimony of God's handiwork. Absolutely. But not because they were staring out at an endless abyss. Whereas today we subconsciously project the thousands upon thousands of fabricated NASA imagery into our perception of the sun, moon, and stars when we look at them with our naked eye. The ancient peoples did not do this. We've been taught to see an endless vacuum. but they saw a ceiling encrusted with sparkling, revolving jewels which marked the seasons and led their way across the face of the earth. When Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob looked up, when Moses and Aaron peered at the sky, when David lifted his eyes to the heavens, that is what they all saw. So what about the greatness, the vastness, the infinite nature of God? Does accepting the reality of a flat, enclosed creation really eliminate the signature of the Creator? Does it make him smaller, less omnipotent, less omniscient, less mind-blowing? Or has marveling at all these alleged modern discoveries fed to us by generations of evolution-believing scientists and astrophysicists actually worked to slowly make us forget all that God has created and put right in front of us to remind us of just how powerful and vast and all-knowing our God is? Jesus himself said, "Are not 2 sparrows sold for a copper coin, and not one of them falls to the ground apart from your Father's will? But the very hairs of your head are all numbered." And so if we stop and ponder this, even for just a brief moment, even within the context of a supposedly tiny, claustrophobic, flat, enclosed world, the reality quickly becomes quite staggering indeed. How many sparrows are there in the world right now, on every tree and hill and every island and continent? How many birds overall, migrating across thousands of miles, filling forests and neighborhoods all across the plain? Could we even attempt to track and count them all, even with all our modern computer technology? How many fish exactly are swimming in the sea right now? Couldn't we really conceive of knowing about every single one of them, swimming the depths of the vast oceans? How many mosquitoes are alive in the jungles right this minute? Can you count them? How many butterflies in all the meadows? How many ants are crawling just through your own backyard right now, let alone the entire world? How many leaves fell to the ground today, off of how many trees? How many grains of sand were washed up onto how many beaches in this supposedly tiny world? Have you ever tried to count the pine needles on just a single pine tree? Eventually you give up and step back, and then look out across countless trees in a single mountain valley. How long would it take to try and actually count the hairs on one's own head? What about everyone in your neighborhood, in your city, or in every city? How many people have lived in all of history anyway? How many hairs would that be? How many lives have gone by that only God has fully seen? How many wars that were fought and last breaths breathed? How many children born in the wee hours of the morning? How many of them did not survive to see the sunrise? How many tears have been shed just today across the entire earth? How many shouts of joy? How many people lost someone they loved? How many people saw an old friend? How many pains, how many celebrations, how many meals, how many long walks? How manys are there in the world on a single day, in this allegedly small and unimpressive place we call the world, filled with men and women, boys and girls, animals and birds and fish and insects and plants and clouds and caves and rivers and stars? Can you even wrap your head around it? God can. Not a sparrow falls and he does not know. take heart, for you are worth more to him than many sparrows.